Hello RC fans, Racing 393. So finally, still not 100%, however, pretty much my Pikes Peak Audi Quattro for my Nitro Tech is completed. There are a few things which I'll show you, which I've still got to work a bit on it. I'm not too bothered though. I'll tell you my reasoning. It's just my way of getting through maybe the lack of skill I have. However, this is the car. You can see it does look a lot better. The decals that I got weren't designed for the Quattro S1, this particular shell. It is, and there's a couple of decals which I've still got to put on the car, and I'll show you that in a second. It won't make any difference to the running of the vehicle, however. But so the decals for the cars from a 1983-84. It is an Audi Quattro, but it's from Per Eklund back in the day. So it was more of the, like, was it the Audi 80 or 100? I can't remember now, but it was that type of shape. So the Quattro is very, very different. This particular make of variant of the Quattro, nevertheless. So I had to kind of mimic where the decals, the main decals would go, the sort of the stripes, which I'll show you on the roof. I'll just move the camera. So it didn't quite, the roof on the original car that these decals are for would be flat, there'd be nothing on it, but this had like a little recess, so I had to cut and shut, basically. It wouldn't quite fit, so I trimmed it up. It doesn't quite align with what I've got there on the side of the door, which you can see. But it does it for now. I mean, I'm pretty sure even the numbers are on the wrong way round. And the reason I did that, because I couldn't fit this here over the mirror, but it was too much stuff with this and the pipe. And I thought that's going to look even shitter than perhaps what some people think it already is. So I decided, in my wisdom, just to put it the other way around so that the number plate would fit the sort of where the race plate is. Because the stripes don't line up here, it's supposed to be orange, and if I twisted it around the other side, it'll be reversed. So the stripes come down sort of like that to the front of the car, and the sticker, the race sticker, would be kind of in the middle here. It looks right, and it would have probably looked better, but I've just decided to sort of flip it around just to give it a bit of, well, I'm trying to make out that I've done that myself. It basically wouldn't fit on this side and the end of. So the rest of the stickers are on. I'm just going to move the car a little bit around so you can see what I've done. Put sort of the sponsor decals on the sort of the area where they would have been on the car, and we'll just go around the other side. So you can see that the number plate on that side would have fitted, and it looked really good. But we are where we are. I've actually put some hot glue on that, so that would be nice. That will snap off nicely when it goes over. I haven't cut, as you can see, the body pins off yet because I'm still unsure whether the right height is correct. I know it's not absolutely perfect here, the odd bits. There's a few of these decals coming off, but it's not, I've never said it's going to be the best looking 1/10 Nitro car, like model wise. What else? Let me just come around the front. Not that. So now what I decided to do, I'll show you on the outside. I bought some modelling filler and pretty much filled the gaps between the top of the wing, the front fenders there, and the actual wing of the car. I've got the over fenders, and it actually looked better before I decided to paint it, because I haven't got any TS paint, and painting on the outside of a Lexan body is not ideal. So I've just coated it with PS, brushed it on, which again is not good. But my thinking behind it, I'm going to put another coat on it, and it does need a sponsor decal along here, which I have, so it will hide some of it. It, in my weird way of thinking, it looks like a rally repair to get out for a stage. So my lack of skill I've still made out that it still looks okay. I think it looks alright. I mean, everyone has their own opinion there, but I think the car looks really good. I like the retro four-wheel drive rally cars. There's plenty of the shells around, body shells for various different makes and models. And it just, I feel that look, I mean, I was, in one of my videos, I think I said a Ford Sierra, and I pretty much almost bought a Ford Sierra. But in the last minute, I decided that because it's something I've got an RS200 on one of my electric buggies, if you like, my TT02 chassis. And I just think this is a little bit more in the same vein, if you like, the sort of era. So these would have been, you know, sort of the mid 80s or so, early to mid 80s. This Group B era of cars. I mean, this particular car's sold as a Pikes Peak edition, so it wouldn't have mattered on the type of car that was banned from the World Rally Championship, as the Group Bs were, because of their the speed and the danger of these cars. However, I still think, yes, they were ferociously quick, but I think the spectators and their ability to stand in the way of the cars, and at places where if a car did go off, it would just go through the spectators, had something to do with it. It wouldn't have mattered, perhaps, what cars were racing around. It doesn't really matter. If the spectators stand in the middle of the track, then it's up to them, isn't it? They know the risks. So, yeah, so the next thing to do, as I digress onto an opinionated subject, I've got to zoom in here, look, so you can see. You might not see it on the camera. Don't know how well it's showing up, might show up really shit. But you can see there. When it's on, it's white, and then from a distance, I mean, okay, my eyes ain't exactly brilliant, but, you know, it does look complete. Now, the next thing to do, the final thing, I've got two things. Maybe do a little bit more painting on that. We'll see. The Traxxas starter, I've got to raise that tab so that I can fit the starter in there. That shouldn't be too difficult. You never know. And the final thing to do will be to fire this thing up. So I think, based on time, I mean, it doesn't matter about the body shell. It's whether the thing runs. It should run. I mean, the person I bought this off are very trustworthy. So I'm going to give it a go, and then probably film the startup process. I don't know whether I'll do it in real time, because I could be on it for hours. You know what it's like sometimes starting these nitros. They just don't cooperate, do they, until you've got the settings and the carb. So yeah, I'm going to film the startup process once I've figured it out myself, I think, to give myself a little bit of leeway. I can do that without the shell on, and then I'll have to put the shell on and adjust that starter plug for the Traxxas Easy Start. I don't know if I said Roto Start, did I? I can't remember now, but it's an Easy Start by Traxxas. And then, all intents and purposes, it can go out for a run. And this is where we find out whether the shell's in the right place. I still will not trim those body pins until after I've run it, because the backs can be adjusted. They're sort of, they kind of slide on the chassis. So I know they're only poking up. They'll just poke up that far anyway. But the shell does move up and down. That's good. And I've still got that option there as well. So hence why I'm going to leave that. As you may or may not realise, I'm actually filming on my GoPro now. So we'll be getting some Go footage outside finally. I've got a little bit of spare time coming up. So what I'm hoping is that I can get this one. This will be the one I take out. We'll take the speed meter with me and everything, so we can get all that sorted. So we'll have that. Yeah, so let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the fact, you know, what this car looks like on this shell. How you would you do you like this? Would you have chosen another one? Are you into your rally cars, your historic rally cars? And we'll go from there. I mean, like I said, I've never been a. I've always openly said my modelling skills, although the technicalities of perhaps the engineering of perhaps running these nitros and getting things built to a spec is good, but the scratch built skillness of myself. So if you've got a load of bits and you're going to make something out of nothing, it's a little bit like these shells. Yes, you can just put the shell on and it looks okay, but there's still an element of punching the holes in and lining up the chassis, putting the bits on the car. That's a little bit ad hoc, and it's down to the individual of how they do that. Whereas if you buy a kit, build a kit to spec, it's got a shell that's already cut and printed, and not printed, but cut for the shell. It's less hassle, isn't it? Less of a bespoke type of experience. So yeah, I suppose my ad hoc bespoke isn't by any stretch good, but I enjoy it, and I think this has come out okay considering how well I've done on it. There are improvements. I'm pretty sure it's not going to look like this after I've used it. I don't intend to wreck it, as I've said, but anyway, next phase, we'll make sure this thing runs. I have tried the easy start in the car, on the engine, and it does turn over nicely. So just got to put fuel in it basically and get it fired up. Right. Eventually, we're going to be out. So I appreciate you watching. Give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think. And I'll speak to you soon.
Right, we're here. We're in the shed, as usual. Now, I'm going to try and narrate over this because I was concentrating too much on what I was doing. So initially, I'm just trying to prime, get the fuel up. I don't think it was coming up very well, even though I was doing the starter. So, you know, it took many attempts. You can see here I'm sort of, you know, on and off pushing the button. I seem to think that the fuel was up, so I'll give it another go and see how we go from there. I can't hear it from where I'm at the moment, so but we've got it running eventually. I'm just looking at the sound bar, if it were, and it runs and it keeps cutting out, just revving and then just cutting out, and perseverance takes over, but we keep going. We try to turn it over. I'm actually, what I'm thinking now, I'm just trying to remember what I was thinking at the time. I thought it was low on fuel, so I was choking the carb, and then you know what it's like. I mean, have I done too much? It's quite tricky getting that balance, especially when you're not familiar with this engine. So we're still trying to start it. It goes to run, and then it just sort of stops immediately. So we're messing around with the with the low speed needle. It's difficult to see on this car where it is, and I wasn't totally sure where it should be on this particular Traxxas motor. But you know, common sense, doing what I would normally do. We're trying to fire it up again. I think I'm trying to prime it. And it goes to fire. You can hear that, it's really loud, and then it just cuts. So we try it again. It starts up, and the problem is it seemed to be running okay with the throttle. You open the throttle and it's all good. And I think it was okay while I was, you know, just easing off the throttle and letting it go back to its neutral position. As you can see there, I was quite pleased with that. But the fact was, when you apply the brake, it just kills it dead. Now, I know what I thought it was. That was the thing, even doing this. But some things tend to mask other things. So I hadn't really set the carb to any particular setting, as it were. So I'm still fiddling around with the low speed needle. The high speed needle, I think I turned it in, counted it, and I think I ended up somewhere around like 5.5 turns or something. That's where I started it with that. So 5.5 turns out from in. So we try it again. We can hear it sort of turning over. And it does fire. It sort of fires straight up. So you think to yourself, well, that's not too bad. And then as soon as you sort of sometimes I think it just might be me. I've just ordered some stuff on there. But it is running. And then when you go to again to apply the brake, I couldn't stop it cutting out. Now, my thought on this was the throttle stop. That's what I was looking for. I couldn't find it, and I was thinking, has it got one? I was looking at the linkage and everything. It has got one. It has to have one. And get it fires up again and sort of revs. We take that off. Sometimes it cuts out, sometimes it doesn't. And then it cut out again. And like anything, it does require patience and it does require some understanding of this particular RC product, if I'm honest. So it's running quite nice there. It seemed to be running alright. I'd messed around with the like the throttle end points. Got the carb set to where I think it should be by look. And yeah, I think I did it off camera, but I'm not sure if I'd found the braking point here. Depends if I use the brake on my transmitter. That's revving, and then it just cut out. Try it again, and it cut out. So I was wondering what it could be. I was making sure it was, you know, had fuel left in the tank. I still at this point hadn't found the throttle stop, and you couldn't see it. I was looking. It's, you know, just using normal daylight in the shed. It's quite tricky. So I had to look on my spare engine. I've got a spare engine, and I thought, well, that's got a throttle stop on it. So that's what I was trying to look at, because when I was braking, it was over sort of closing the butterfly or the slide. There's a slide carb on this, and it would fire up straight away and then just cut out again as soon as you either, I mean, it was probably a little bit to do with the idle as well, which I was messing around with. And you can see here it is running. We've got it running. I mean, bearing in mind I don't know the history of this engine at all. You know, it's like buying second-hand nitros. You never know what you're going to get. Seemed to be okay there. And I think I was using the brake, because you can see the wheels stopping. You should see another thumbs up in a minute, and I'll show you. So yes, I've actually got the carburetor sort. I found the throttle stop. I wound it. It was actually wound right out, so there was nothing stopping the slide from closing up completely, or too much. About half, I don't know, between half and 1 mil open is where it should be, to be honest. I'm just giving it lots of different fires of firing it up here, because it kept cutting out, starting, cutting out. I think maybe this might be going a few scenes back. I'm not sure now whether my editing's in line Because once I got it running, it was fine. It started every single time. I think, actually, I remember now what I'd done. I had altered the high speed needle and the low speed needle. I was messing around with it, trying to compensate for the throttle stop. It can give you a false idle, so that means it's actually ticking over nicely. But as soon as you do something, it can cut out because it's not set right. So as you can see here, it is actually running now. The starter does stick a little bit in there, but it was idling okay. I was going to mess around and change it again, but what I found was, I think I do an weakening off a little bit there, but it does need a run because it was getting, it's stationary, it's getting quite hot, and I didn't want to damage anything. So you can see it's finally got it where I run and idle and stop and start. I was quite pleased with. I think I put the carburetor air intake filter on now. I haven't cleaned that out. I was quite happy with how it was sounding and running, and I'll show you there that it's got some revs and the brake works now, so it wasn't cutting out. So we finally got there, but it was getting rather hot. So yeah, so that's that started. We'll get this out in the well, it is running. We'll get it out for a run, and we can see how we go for there. I'll probably just tune it when I'm on site, because it was getting rather smoky in the shed, and I didn't want to get it overheat the engine. So anyway, that's where we are, and I'll see you on the next video, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.